Hello, kids. Are you ready for another story? Okay. Just lie back and relax. The name of this story is King Midas. Once upon a time, there was this king named Midas, and he was the richest king in the land. He was so rich, he had this room full of gold coins, and every day King Midas would count his coins. In fact, King Midas would count his coins every morning, afternoon, and night before he went to bed. That is what he loved to do, count his golden coins. One day while he was counting his coins, his daughter Marigold came and asked him a question. She said, "Father, how would you like to come out with me in the garden today? We could look at the beautiful flowers I've grown." Because Mary spent her days outside, and she loved to grow flowers. She did not care about gold. King Midas said, "No, I can't go in the garden. I'm too busy in here counting gold. I have no use to go in the garden." Marigold went away, but she knew how much her father would like the garden. Well, the next day, King Midas was in his room counting his gold. And he turned around and he saw a man. But this man looked a little bit strange. And he said to the man, "How did you get in here? I locked the door." Well, the little man said, "I know you did, but I got in anyway. I have magic powers." Well, King Midas looked and said, "Well, what do you want?" And the little man said, "I might be able to help you." The king said, "How? How can you help me? I have everything." And then the little man looked and smiled at the gold and said, "Oh, you mean all this gold?" "Well," said the little man, "how about something else, something more? What if I could give you the power to make everything you touch turn to gold?" The king opened his eyes wide, and he opened his mouth. He could not believe what he was hearing. The king thought, "If I could turn everything into gold, I would be the richest man on the planet. Nobody would have more." And the king said, "That would be great." Well, the little man said, "Well, okay. When the sun comes up tomorrow morning, you will have the power to turn anything you touch into gold." Well, the little man went away, and that night the king could not sleep. He was so excited about having his new power. When the morning came, the king got up, and he tried to open the curtain so he could see the sun. But as soon as he touched the curtain, it turned into gold. The king could not believe it. A golden curtain. Whoa! The king got out of bed and started touching other things. Tables, lamps, chairs, his bed, his shoes. Everything he touched turned to gold. The king was excited and very happy. He kept doing more things, touching more things in the gold. In fact, the king went into the garden where his daughter Marigold grew flowers. He started touching the flowers, and the flowers turned to gold. After a while of touching and turning things into gold, the king became hungry and thirsty. So he called his servants to give him food. But whatever food he touched turned to gold. and every time he tried to drink something, it turned to gold too. So the king could not eat nor drink. The king grew very hungry and thirsty, and he said, "Somebody, please, try to give me food and drink." But every time the servants tried, it turned to gold as soon as it touched the king's mouth. The king's daughter, Marigold, came in and said, "Father, look at this. This is my favorite rose." And the king said, "Yeah, I see it. It's gold." But Marigold said, "This is terrible. Who could have done this?" And the king said, "I did it. I did it for you, dear. I wanted to turn them into gold and make them beautiful." And Marigold looked at her father and said, "Father, I don't want gold flowers. I can't smell a gold flower. I can't touch a gold flower. It doesn't feel the same. These flowers are useless." And then Marigold started to cry. Well, the king did not want to see his daughter crying. So he tried to give her a big hug to make her feel better. And as soon as he touched her daughter, Marigold turned into gold too. The king could not believe it. His daughter was gold. He did not know what to do. And the king cried and said, "Please, I wish I could take this power back. I'm sorry I ever had it. I don't want it anymore. All I want is my daughter back. I want things back the way they were." And then, all of a sudden, the little man appeared again. And the little man said, "So, you wish to have your powers taken away?" The king said, "Yes, yes, please, take them away." And the little man said, "Are you sure?" And the king said, "Yes." The little man said, "Look, I did this to teach you a lesson. Now I hope you learned. Okay, the powers are gone. All you have to do is go to the river, get water, and pour it on all the objects you turned to gold, and they will become normal again." So, the king called his servants and said, "Let's go to the river, quick, get buckets, get pails, everything, get all the water you can, and come back, and let's turn everything back to normal." And so, the king and his servants went. They got buckets of water. They brought them back, and they poured the water on everything that was turned to gold, and it returned to normal. Marigold turned back to normal. The flowers turned back to normal. Then Marigold began to help her father pour more water on things. Soon everything was back to normal. But after that, the king learned a valuable lesson. From then on, the king no longer stayed in his room to count his gold. He'd spend his days in the garden with his daughter Marigold, and they would walk around and smell the flowers together. The only thing gold that the king liked from then on was the golden sun. The end. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, time for bed. Good night, kids. Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you all.